Welcome back, everyone. We have gotten a lot of trade rumors over the past 2 months, but the ones that have come out during the past week have really been a bit hard to believe. We already talked about the Gary Trent Jr. trade rumors, which I believe are wishful thinking at best, but now the Lakers have been linked to an even bigger name, with that being Bradley Beal. I mean, it's really not that surprising given that it happens every year, but I think this might be the 3rd year in a row now that we've gotten a Bradley Beal trade rumor, and each time they've turned out to be nothing but rumors, although I do think the Lakers have legitimate interest in him. The only problem is that the Washington Wizards probably do not share that same interest. This particular rumor comes from Kevin O'Connor of The Ringer. He reported that the Lakers have interest in acquiring Bradley Beal this summer, but that there are a few other teams with a better chance of acquiring him. In order for the Lakers to build a trade package for Bradley Beal, it would have to begin with including Westbrook, because other than LeBron or Anthony Davis, they don't have a contract large enough to match Beal's salary. But with Westbrook having very little trade value, that would not help them very much here. In order for them to even gain level of interest from Washington, they would definitely have to include both their 2027 and 2029 first-round draft pick, which, as we know, is reportedly not something that they are willing to do to trade away Westbrook. They are one of the few teams in the league who might actually want Westbrook for the sake of playing him, but from everything we know right now, they still view Bradley Beal as their franchise player. And along with that, Bradley Beal has been very loaded with trade assets. In fact, they are near the bottom of the league in regard to young talent and future draft picks. The only way they would have a real shot at acquiring him, and I really mean the only way, would be if Bradley Beal specifically demanded a trade to the Lakers. Unfortunately though, I don't see that happening. I mean, don't get me wrong here, I would love for that to be a reality as a Lakers fan, but if we are trying to be realistic here, it would be wishful thinking at best. If there is one takeaway that I do like from this report though, it would have to be with the mention of the Lakers being willing to trade Westbrook and potentially including draft picks to do it. Now, I don't think they should go throwing away their draft picks for nothing, but I do think they should be willing to include one of them if it meant getting a good return package. And while we cannot realistically hope for a guy like Bradley Beal, there are definitely other trade targets who could be worth giving up a first-round draft pick. In regard to a trade with the Washington Wizards though, I don't think Bradley Beal should even be the player they have their eye on, as again, he is simply not a realistic trade target for them. One player who would be though, is none other than former Laker Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who I've actually mentioned on a number of occasions now. And reports indicate that the Wizards might be looking to trade him. It might look foolish to trade for a player that they traded away only a year ago, but you cannot deny how well he fits around LeBron and AD. It would mean giving up Talen Horton-Tucker, but if they are truly willing to move forward with Westbrook, then THT does not really have a fit on their team anyways. And with Washington being one of the very few teams willing to trade fairly with them, that might be one of their only options when it comes to making a trade. Now, I'm not advocating for them to definitely do this, but I would not mind seeing it happen either, as there are very few young, affordable 3&D wings available through a trade right now. In conclusion for this trade rumor though, while I'm not denying the possible truth behind it, I don't believe that Bradley Beal is a realistic option for them either. Although, even if Bradley Beal is not an option, I would not completely rule out a trade with the Washington Wizards. They are one of the few teams willing to negotiate fairly with them, and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope could very well be available. Moving on here though, we got some additional news regarding the Lakers' ability to buy their way into the NBA draft. According to Jake Fisher of Bleacher Report, they could potentially make a deal with Atlanta or Detroit, as both teams are reportedly willing to trade their second-round draft pick. And that is very good news for the Lakers. They have been very open about wanting to get involved in the NBA draft, and this could be a great opportunity for them. Both Atlanta and Detroit own a pick within the mid-40s of the NBA draft, with Atlanta owning the 44th overall pick, and then Detroit owning the 46th overall pick. And we all know what the Lakers can turn a second round pick into. In the past 5 years alone, they have found a ton of hidden gems in the second round, with that list including Ibaka Zubac, Svi Mykhailiuk, Thomas Bryant, and current Laker Talen Horton-Tucker. Then if you go a little further beyond that, you could even include Jordan Clarkson, all of which are still in the NBA today, and a majority of them have prominent roles too. At this point, the Lakers scouting unit is not to be underestimated. Even without a draft pick, they were able to uncover Austin Reeves, who they quickly picked up after going undrafted a year ago. With all of that in mind, it's no wonder why they are trying so hard to buy a draft pick, and especially with this draft class being regarded as a fairly deep one too. Now, there are no guarantees that either Detroit, Atlanta, or any other team will actually be willing to sell them a draft pick, but there is a fairly high likelihood of it happening. If you did not know, the Lakers have nearly $5 million in remaining cash to trade for one, which is more than enough to buy one draft pick, and might even be enough to buy two of them. Regardless though, I find it hard to believe that they won't be able to work out a deal with all of that remaining cash. There are multiple teams with 3 or even 4 picks within this draft alone. We all know that teams typically don't like trading with the Lakers, but making a trade for a late second round pick is not really viewed as a big deal anyways. I don't think it should be a problem for them, and if anything, this report only backs up that claim. They are clearly trying to add more youth to their team, and probably for a couple of different reasons, one of which is simply to get younger, but in addition to that, it will also help them save a bit of money too. They were obviously a bit hesitant to enter the luxury tax during the past year, and that will likely be a continuing theme for them throughout this year too. It's hard to find anything cheaper than a minimum contract, hence the word minimum, but a second round pick actually earns significantly less money compared to a minimum player, and that is very likely a factor in their pursuit of a second round draft pick. But thankfully, being cheap could actually benefit them this time around, as again, we cannot underestimate their scouting department. With all of that being said though, that will conclude my thoughts on the Bradley Beal trade rumors, and with the likelihood of buying their way into the second round. And what do you guys think? Do you think either of the rumors hold any truth? Let me know your thoughts by commenting down below and we can talk about it there. That will do it for this video though. Big thank you to those of you who took the time to watch until the end of this video, and until the end of all of my videos in general. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, be sure to drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and turn on notifications to get notified right away when I drop a new video. But as always, thank you for watching and have a great day.